So, well, you describe yourself as an independent now.
Yes.
So kind of, as far as politics goes going forward, where do you think you might find, find some folks you want to vote for? I mean, are you leaning green, or are you into Movement for a People's Party, or are you just kind of one step at a time? I'll see if there's any candidates, or
I'm looking at the People's Party. I think that's interesting. I think we definitely need to get out of this pluralist. I think that the having the two-party system is not working and it's not making people happy. The voting system needs to change so that the candidate that you vote for, the next one then can be raised up. That I think certain states are doing that. I would have loved to have seen Bernie Sanders as president. At one point, I liked Elizabeth Warren. I liked Cory Booker. And as far as Kamala goes, my comment, she's more conservative than I am and kind of establishment Democrat. That's the only reason I'm not as supportive. But by the same token, I would love to see her president over Biden. And I feel like she would be a good leader. And it's so strange that we have to get women into positions of power kind of sideways in our country. We can't just do it, you know, like we have to do it that way. So my plan is to look at the People's Party, probably is closest to my kind of, and then just remain independent and watch what happens. Those parties need to be given momentum. So in other words, we don't want them splitting the vote, which is what Democrats will accuse them of doing.
right.
But the Democrats have become Republican. I mean, I've been in politics since the 90s, and I'm telling you that they are voting the same way Ronald Reagan people voted. That's the Democratic Party has moved to that kind of, framework, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. I think in some ways it's they're almost even worse than, because I tweeted the day of the inauguration. I'm like, yes, I am happy Trump's gone, but I am not happy that when we needed an FDR style presidency, we are getting another Reagan term, which
Right.
Reagan terms are pretty much all we've had in my lifetime. And I include Barack Obama in that.
Oh, absolutely.
By his own words, he describes me. He's like, I would be considered a moderate Republican. Barack Obama said that himself. And still,
yeah. You're absolutely right. And he said it. And Joe Biden said it when he said to those billionaires in that fundraiser, nothing will fundamentally change. Listen to people when they tell you who they are. That's what I would say. Well, Trump was crazy, and he was more of an entertainer than he was a politician. At one point I heard he had been a Democrat at one point in his life. I don't know. His obviously his policies to me were really craven and not acceptable. But that said, I have respect for people who maybe don't share my views. It doesn't mean they're bad people or they're, I don't support white supremacy or racism, obviously. However, there are some Republicans who don't, who are just fiscally think differently. And it's, we're just so far apart right now. It feels like you have to be careful of everything you say. And I think people want to get to a place where they can have like some really authentic dialogue about what's wrong.
Yeah.
Without fear of, being canceled or being, discarded.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, let me run this by you. I think that when you just take a snapshot, and if you had to just take Donald Trump, Joe Biden, between the two of them, they pretty much embalm everything that is wrong with our system between the two of them. Because on one side, you just have this plutocrat showman who was just tired of buying politicians over the years. So figure I'll just skip the middleman and let them buy me for a change.
Right.
And then on the other side, you have this, predatory blank suit who has just played the game in a very dishonest way for 40 plus years and has failed up because of it. So it's like everything that's wrong with our system can be embodied in these two people, and they're your choices, which says to me, we are going backwards. We are somehow going backwards.
Yeah, I think even backwards, we're just going in the wrong direction altogether.
Mm.
And the misogyny, like people were saying to me, well, it's the voting for the less of two evils. And then someone else, I don't remember the person who said the quote. It wasn't me, but it's an interesting quote where they said, well, it's still evil. So it doesn't matter. Like if there's lesser of two evils, but you're still supporting evil. And I think that's what you're trying to say. It's just both of them are empty as far as their value system. I think what's really dangerous about Biden is he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's presenting as someone who wants unity and peace, and he uses all these platitudes and promised $2,000 checks. And then when he's in office, everything's unwinding. And it's the same old, same old. And I remember having like pretty heated discussions with, just not about my situation, just about policy in general, with leftists who were like, we have to vote for him because we can get him to move left. You're not moving that.
Yeah. Well, isn't that how compromise always works though? You give somebody everything they want and then they give you what you want. Isn't that how that works in life?
Right.
Hey, I'm selling a car. It costs $200. All right, I'll give you $200 now, but after this, I'm going to say it should cost $150. It doesn't work that way. That's
you got to buy the oil changes for the car. No, like sorry about it. We're seeing, and the thing with the pandemic, when he was saying he could handle the pandemic, he had a plan, his team had a plan, and then he immediately made an announcement that, so, and now they're waiting to the end of the day to talk to Republicans about the whole package that they were finally going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm really, and then as far as rape culture, institutionalized rape culture, by electing Joe Biden, we have just given carte blanche to abusers, predators, that nothing happens. There's no consequences, and you can even be rewarded, And I'm wondering if on some level, the publicity that came around what happened with my history with him even gave him more publicity he would have gotten had he not, had that going on. I don't know. But we need to get away from everything being run by public relations, and we have to take hold of our own democracy. And that means work. And people just want like mom and dad to like take care of things. Well, it's not going to happen. We're mom and dad. It's a democracy. So we have to take an active role in it. And it means having privy to information that we might not like, but we have to deal with it for our own, benefit, our own family's benefit. It means being educated on the issues and knowing what we want. We can't just hand it over and give consent, because then consent becomes, just implied. And that gets us into wars.
Yeah.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make